Has anyone here ever had an up-close personal experience with a dolphin ever before? Because usually if you have, it's somewhat magical. And if you're wondering, the rest of you, what exactly does that look like? On the count of 3, if you've ever thought you can command the dolphins with your very voice, on the count of 3, I want you to give you your best dolphins. So we'll see what happens. Get your cameras ready. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Dolphin! Keep it going. That was fantastic. How did you do that? That was amazing. And we do that to illustrate somewhat of a point that, yeah, whenever you see dolphins like that, it can be a rather magical experience. But has anyone ever seen that particular kind of dolphin before? And it doesn't count if you've seen them here at the aquarium. Well, that's one of the reasons why we do these sessions, actually get to know these particular animals a little bit better. But might as well start with the trainers, of course. Anna, over on this side over here, and she is working with the remarkable Helen. And closest to me we have the lovely Charlotte. And she is working with the dolphin.
I will, but I want to show him.
However, I did ask if you've seen this particular kind of dolphin or if you've had an up-close personal experience. And most people, if you have, 9 times out of 10, it's with a bottlenose dolphin. Because they tend to be in areas geographically that are closer to people, easier to access. But obviously that's no bottlenose. It's kind of a funny looking one if it is. These are known as Pacific white-sided dolphins. There's 45 different kinds of dolphins and porpoises that look very similar. So no, there's not just bottlenose out there. There are Pacific white-sided dolphins, there's spinner dolphins, there's acrobatic dolphins, and then there's rather shy dolphins. And we are very fortunate to actually have these particular ones right off of our coast. And it's not unusual to hear people seeing them off the ferry if you're heading over to Vancouver Island. Most recently, they've been sighted just in and around the Port Hardy area, so if you happen to be traveling up island, keep your eyes open in case you can't see them. And it's not uncommon for us to get questions about, well, alright, if we have these dolphins off of our coast, why are these 2 here and not actually swimming off of our coast? And that's a fair question, rightly so. For one, these are animals from the other side of the range. They range from northern Mexico all the way over to Japan. And actually these 2 are what are known as rescued and rehabilitated dolphins. They were found in fixed fishing nets off the coast of Japan. And if you look at Hannah on the far side, especially underwater, you may notice scarring up and down her bodies. Or her body, sorry, but the most obvious one is Helen. And if you look at her pectoral fins, you may notice that, wait a minute, something's a little bit different with that dolphin. And yeah, she had to have parts of them partially removed because of that particular incident. And usually with marine mammals, if they get caught in marine debris, they're mammals just like we are. And so you notice every time they come up to the surface, they have to breathe. And so if they're wrapped in something, they're upside down. Well, with these guys, they can hold their breath for 8 to 10 minutes. After that, they're in trouble. So usually marine mammals that do end up in fishing nets, no, they do not survive. However, occasionally they are rescued and occasionally they are rehabilitated. And here in Vancouver, we actually have a site that the aquarium runs, known as the Marine Mammal Rescue Center. And yeah, we have a lot of marine mammal patients that come in. We do what we can to fix them up, let them go. Good luck here on your own. But every now and again, especially with these guys, if it takes longer than about 6 months, they become very used to people. And they come to associate people as, hey, these strange 2-legged creatures feed me. I'm going to hang out with them. And then they become dangerous to not only themselves, but also to marine traffic. And that's why different regulatory bodies say, you know what, these guys, they have been with people too long, we don't know how well they'll do, and so they're deemed non-releasable. In Canada, it's our own Department of Fisheries and Oceans that makes that call. And we do have a few patients here at the aquarium that, yeah, that's their story. And yes, it is unfortunate, but we do have a very great opportunity here. Because do we have anybody here who's entertained by dolphins? Who'd like to command them with their very voice? Dolphins! And so, yeah, we try and find a fine line between entertainment and education. And these animals in particular, they are very good ambassadors for their species just because of their story. These are animals whose time in the ocean was cut short by something being there that was made by people and really shouldn't have been in the ocean. And here in Stanley Park, as we do spend more time outside, it's important for us to remember that our shiny chip bags and candy bar wrappers can look like those small silver fish. And if they do end up in the water, yeah, unfortunately, occasionally our neighbors mistake them for fish. And we have some amazing neighbors, and we do want them around for as long as possible. But how do we actually train the animals to help us teach people about these remarkable animals? Well, you'll notice the trainers working with the dolphins. Oddly enough, they do not speak dolphin. And occasionally we do hear guests trying to talk to our animals. You can try, but I have no idea what they're saying. But they do have very good eyesight, and they quickly learn that, all right, I see a certain signal, a certain hand gesture. These people want me to do something. And the animals learn what that is by a little bit of trial and error, and also through communication and leading the animal through. And once they've done the behavior that's being asked for, there's another tool that's at our disposal. They also have really good ears. And you can't see their ears. They don't have external ear flaps, but they do have ears. And yeah, they can hear that whistle. And the whistle is the signal to the animal that, all right, I've done what I'm supposed to do. And now it's time to be rewarded. It's a system of training just known as positive reinforcement or operant conditioning. But yeah, you look for a behavior, it's done correctly, time to be rewarded in a positive fashion. And then the idea is, if you're a dolphin, what would you be looking for in terms of positive reinforcement? Timbits. That works for people. Not dolphins, but yes, fish. And the common assumption is that our animals do what we ask them to do because we feed them. And well, yes, we do feed them. These particular animals, they eat about 8 or 9 kilograms of seafood per day. And that's 20 pounds for our guests visiting from the States, or if you happen to be over 30. And if anyone here can eat 20 pounds of seafood, nicely done. Very nicely done. So yes, we do feed them. But anyone who's worked with animals, you know when an animal is stressed or not feeling well, the first thing they stop doing is eating. And so that's the only way we had to work with these animals. No, there'd be lots of times when it's not into it. So yes, these are animals, just like perhaps if you happen to have a cat or a dog at home, and you may notice that, well, your cat likes being rubbed behind the ears, or your dog likes belly rubs. Well, yes, there's some similarities with these animals as well. They are very tactile, and they will, yes, do behaviors purely for tactile things. Or even just the positive energy of the trainers. When you watch them working with the animals, you'll notice they give them lots of, oh, that was great! And do the dolphins understand, oh, that was great? Probably not, but that same gesture, that positive energy, yes, these animals, they do feed off of that. And so occasionally you'll hear us asking our audience, well, you should clap for the dolphins, that was fantastic. And are the dolphins doing this for applause? Well, probably not, but yeah, they can tell positive reactions from just the people and the other animals around them. So ultimately, we do want it to be voluntary for the parts of the animals, and yes, they're very intelligent, yes, they do have personalities, and yes, there are times when they're not into just doing certain things or certain behaviors. That's fine, we'll move on, try something else. But ultimately, yes, we do want it to be voluntary because we want these animals to be able to showcase how remarkable they are. And just how lucky we are to actually have these animals off of our coast. So I'd like to thank you for joining us, because a portion of the proceeds of admission does go towards not only working with these animals, but also some of the research and conservation initiatives that we have. We've reached the end of our time with the dolphins. So thanks so much for joining us. It's been a wonderful audience. On behalf of myself, trainers, Helen, and Hannah, enjoy the rest of your afternoon here at the Vancouver Aquarium.
You're hot.